acrylic sculpture for the state I titled Apollomon. It got a lot of attention when it was installed. The press loved the story that sculptor does something that industry says can't be done, and biggest transparent object in the world. And I mean, it was nice. There was a little bit, I think, a little bit too much about the technical part, but the press loves that kind of thing, and it got a lot of attention. Some people from the undersea world came to me and said that to approach me about the idea of making an all-transparent bathysphere. The core idea with the transparent sculptures was to take people's eyes with sculpture where they'd never been, which was to take the viewer's eyes not stopping on the surface of the sculpture, but draw them through and even past the sculpture itself. So the idea of taking mankind's eyes to someplace in the ocean that they couldn't go to otherwise felt right and fit the idea of what had motivated me to invent this new process. So I said, sure. And I thought it would be, if I knew how to cast a big sculpture for the state, I'd just pour it into the mold and it'd be done. Well, it wasn't quite that easy. And the bathyspheres had to be accurate to a degree that the sculptures didn't. The spheres were going to be made by hemispheres, 2 hemispheres, and so I had this big metal mold that I designed and had manufactured, a very accurate metal inside and outside mold, but it wasn't working. And so I was back to basic experimentation, only the problem was that each experiment that failed was a half a sphere, and it was expensive. And at that time, it's very funny, the raw material for each casting at that time, which would have been 1971, cost just the same amount as a new Volkswagen. So at that point, Laurence had come and joined my life. And so when I would open the autoclave and separate the molds and see that it was a crack or bubbles in it, I would tell her, well, we pushed a new Volkswagen over the cliff again last night. And there were 5 that failed. But with each one that failed, I learned a little bit more. And so finally, I did get to the point where I could cast them consistently and accurately. I made 2 of the complete spheres, which became the part where the scientists went into a whole submersible vehicle that had articulated arms and lights and motors and propellers and all of the things that made it able to operate underwater. And I was not responsible for that part. But the core part of where the people were, that was my contribution and my invention.